Hi, this is Charlie from Path of the Bee. Today I'm going to make my first mining video. So what I've done is that I've gone out in the woods and I staked a claim on an old mine that was originally claimed up in 1897, and it was worked for 40 years. Of course, everybody knows that in 1942 the U.S. government shut down every gold mine in the United States. So this one never reopened, and I discovered that people had not been keeping up on the claim status on it, and so I went ahead and claimed it. And I've been poking around trying to figure out what's going on there, as far as what did they do in that 40 years that they mined out there. There's a pretty serious shaft that they dug. The information that I can find, which is very, very limited, indicates that they have about 200 feet of tunnels, but if they're there, it's caved in. The shaft is full, kind of caved in, filled in with some dirt and fill. Eventually, I'd like to kind of open it up, hopefully locate an adit and check out what's actually in under the ground. But what I'm dealing with right now, I'm trying to discover is that what values did they leave in the tailings. Modern technologies like advanced quite a bit as far as recovering gold. From the 40s till now, and so that's kind of what I'm looking at. I've pulled several assays. I've gotten assays of 3 grams to the ton, quarter ounce per ton, and 0. There's a lot of absolutely nothing or just traces of silver poking around, and I'm kind of narrowing down to where I've got kind of a line picked out of where the values may be in this tailings pile. And so that's what I've done is I've gathered up 10 of these sandbags full of that material, because I've got to the point where I feel I need to take a bulk sample. And so what I'm doing today is I'm going to go ahead and classify that material out, and I'll kind of show you what material I'm working with. And I've sent a sample off for assay to the assay office, and so we'll go through that here a little bit. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to untie my bag, dump it in my bucket, and then I'll screen through it and I'll show you some of the different material as it crops up. Okay, so if I don't super stuff a bag full, they fit in a bucket pretty nice. And then I just got to hand transfer this material over and then shake it through my screen. You can see there's going to be a little bit of roots. I have a lot of this material is kind of stuck together into some kind of conglomerated goo. And a lot of times I shake it, I'll end up with these balls of material. Some of them are really sandy, and some of them have a lot of mud in them. Like it gets to be almost like a blue gumbo mud, little balls of it. So this is very varying material. It's really different, so that's why I decided I needed a bulk sample. And so what I'm doing is I'm just pulling off the big stuff. I know some of these could be crushed down further, but what I'm doing is that I'm just putting the overs in this tub, and I'm going to fill it full of water when I'm done and clean everything off really good. So there'll be another batch of stuff to get out of that when I'm finished. A lot of little roots and organic matter. Okay, so here's some of the stuff we're looking at. That almost looks like a rock, but as we break it apart, we can see that this is like probably some topsoil stuff, but I do see slight, orange mineral staining in it. And that's just a lot of, some of this kind of stuff we're going to see like that. That could be some topsoil mixed into where I'm at. Now, this sample that I've taken is, looky here, this is sandy yet orange. The sample that I've taken is from 0 to 2 feet, 0 inches to 2 feet, and I sent off 2 samples. One was a first foot sample, 0 to 12 inches, and another was a mixture of 12 to 24, and I sorted out all of the larger material. So I did this exact process to it. I screened off all this large stuff and then sent my sample in. Looks like maybe a stone, but it's... Alright, so here we go. We got clay and some mineralization that was mixed in there. You could see some little flakes of pyrite, that sort of stuff. It turned into a ball. For some reason that turned into a ball where the other stuff didn't. So I'm wondering if maybe when they processed this material, it might have been in the middle of the winter, was freezing and turned into a ball, or they had too much of that blue gumbo mud. Once in a while I find a ball of that, and just mixed everything up. The mud they just didn't let they didn't get it clean. They didn't get the mud out of it. So maybe that mud has tied up some of those gold values. These ore samples that I took are, like I said, they're all 0 to 24 inches. I dug a 2-foot hole. I filled up 10 of these sandbags. I'm estimating them at about 50 pounds a piece. And so I figure I got a 500-pound sample here, and things will be pretty good. Here's some larger cobbly stone in there. Obviously I got down pretty deep. Mixed right next to it is some more clay-like substance with definitely a bunch of pyrites and, you know, a lot of sparkly in there, but I don't know how much gold exactly. Okay, so that's what some of that material looks like. There is even bigger balls of that blue gumbo mud and stuff in there, and you know, my goal is to just scalp this all off and have it ready to run through some sort of a processing equipment. I would love to get a table. In fact, I'd love to get one from Mount Baker Mining and Metals, but they're just a little above my budget at this point. Until I prove up and there's some values there, I just can't justify, you know, that kind of money. I feel that they're absolutely worth every penny he's asking for them, but I don't know that this soil justifies that expense. Those shaker tables that he makes, I've looked at them pretty extensively, and like I said, I really feel that that's the direction to go if there's some values in this material. The problem is that I've got to discover if there is, and just pulling an assay here and there doesn't really tell me what I need to know as far as, you know, spending a pile of money. So what I need to do is exactly what I'm doing here. I pulled a 500-pound sample, and I'm going to process this. There's two pieces of equipment that are like still production style things that a person can get. One is a shaker table, and the other is a jig. And so I've ordered a small jig, and when it shows up, I want to have this kind of ready to run through it. So that's what I'm doing here today. Is we're gonna scalp all the big stuff off of this and the organic matter, and have some buckets of material ready to run through the jig when it shows up. So once that piece of equipment shows up, I'll definitely unbox that and show you guys how that goes. I'm pretty excited about it. I feel that, you know, looking at the different research that I've done for a long time, that a jig is the best way to go. And the big jigs that you can buy from commercially are just way too much money for somebody's small hobby like me until I can prove up. And obviously the point of what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to recover material from somebody's tailings pile that it's assaying pretty decent, but the stuff is so fine that it already blew through their sluice box. What makes me think that I could catch it in mine? So that's why I'm leaning towards a jig or a table to process this stuff. I'll let you know the results of my assays when they come back, and I'll definitely show you that jig when it shows up. And that's what I'm going to do now today for the rest of the day is we're going to sort through this material and get the large stuff scalped off and ready for that jig when it shows up, and I'll tell you all about it. Alright, well that's it for now. We'll catch you next time.